Hi guys, Miss Jamie here. You may say, Miss Jamie, do you always wear a hat? To that I'd say, no, sometimes I just wear my hair pulled back. But today is a special day. I have on a hat and my hair is pulled back. Why is it a special day, you might ask? Well, if you were on East Coast Prospecting's live stream or Cajun Coin Hunter's live stream last night and involved in the chat, you would know that Miss Jamie is way behind in baking Christmas cookies. I make Christmas cookies that come from the Switzerland, Germany area, a region that date back about 600 years or so, and sometimes I feel like they take about 600 years to make. They actually only take about 3.5 weeks, but 3.5 weeks to make cookies, it's kind of time intensive. I make them for my grandmother, who is 90 this year. Her mother, my great grandma, she used to make them every Christmas season, and so I continue to make them for my grandma because I love her, and I think it's just something that she really enjoys, just that memory, that little bit of comfort food. So without further ado, why don't we make some Springerles? Okay, so when you make Springerles, first thing you need is the dough. Made this yesterday because you want to let it sit in the fridge at least overnight. Well, actually at least 6 hours, but you can leave it up to like for 3 or 4 days. And when you make the dough is anise flavored, so that is like your black licorice or your black jelly beans, and it's maybe an acquired taste. Some people love them, some people hate. My brother hates them. I didn't like them so much when I was little, but I always ate them at my great-grandmother's when we would go to Evansville because I always thought they were so pretty, but I would sit there and make like a really weird face. Anyhow, then what you leaven them with, it's a very old leavening. It's before baking soda or anything like that. It's called hartshorn, and it is made from, well, this is not what it used to be made from, and don't ask me how people figured this out, but they used to take the male deer, red deer, I think, antlers or male antlers. Anyhow, at that time, the male deer, it was called a hart. So it's hartshorn. What shorn means, I don't know. But this is it. It is very pungent. It smells like ammonia. And this is not made from deer antler. This is just some kind of a compound that's made up somewhere. And it smells like ammonia. You do not want to eat any of the cookie dough prior to baking the cookies. As you bake the cookies, that smell, everything bakes out. You would never know it was in there. So you have your dough. The next thing you do is you roll it out. And this is my big rolling pin that I use for doing my Springerles because it's nice and heavy. Her name is Miss Patmore, and if any of you watch Downton Abbey, you will know that Miss Patmore is the cook at Downton Abbey. Yes, I do tend to name just about everything I own. It is a habit of mine. Then after that, what you do, once you get the dough rolled out to the thickness you need, you either use a rolling pin. I have 4 Springerle rolling pins, and I think this one is probably the oldest one I have because it is, the designs on it are very traditional and what they would have had, several hundred years ago at least. And it's all hand carved. This one is from Germany. This one is for Germany. I think they're all from Germany. Anyhow, so yes, you need rolling pins. And if you guys haven't noticed, I upgraded here. I actually have a little tripod, so it's not shaking everywhere, and it's not falling over yet. Anyhow, these I typically don't use to give as Christmas gifts, but I make them at Christmas time, just a few for myself, because I think they are so beautiful. I said that some of the molds were like hundreds of years old. I don't know, I could look it up because you can find the history of these molds online. But these are replicas of some of the molds that are quite old. These would have been all hand carved, which I tried carving a mold once. Forget it. It took too much energy, thinking power. I may try it again though, because I think it'd be pretty cool. Morel mushroom, maybe that'd be kind of fun. But anyhow, so I have these replicas, and they're from House, I think it's House on the Hill or Hill House, something like that. But they do replicas of all of these antique molds. This one, there are 4 molds that it's in this series. It's called the 4 Seasons. I think this is summer. And then there also, you can buy newer molds. You can actually buy new Springerle rolling pins, like made in China or whatever. They're laser cut. Not interested in those. I love history, and I love rolling pins that have been, you know, used by other people. So these are newer molds. These are probably just designed by, I don't know if you can read that or not. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I sure can't. But, nope, can't read it. These would have been, you know, just designed by someone at Hill House or House on the Hill, whatever it is. So these are not old. These are newer molds. And I think I'm missing a few, so I might need to look around for those. So once you get your cookies either rolled out or pressed, you can cut them out into small individual cookies, or you can use cookie cutters. Well, apparently I'm not going to be able to get these open. These cookie cutters have like a little ruffly edge around them, so they're real pretty. These are just a regular plain circle, and then these are oval for the oval molds that I have. And you cut them out, and I think that's all we have right now. So let me get some dough rolled out, and then we'll press some cookies. Okay, so here I have the dough rolled out, and I'm going to try and do this around my tripod. Not sure how well this is going to work. Actually, I didn't roll it quite wide enough, so let's just scoot you guys back for a second and make it a little bit wider. Ooh, okay. This is really hard with the tripod. Okay, so then what you do after you get that done, important step, because if you don't do this, you are going to end up with dough potentially sticking in your mold or on your rolling pin. So what you do, use a pastry brush, dip it in your flour. I just keep a bowl of it here because, and you use cake flour. You don't want to, I mean, I guess you can use all-purpose flour, but the cake flour is finer, and it gives it a nicer texture. I don't know what they would have used way back when, and I can't imagine making these like even 70 or 80 years ago when my great-grandma would have been making them as a younger girl, because you've got to whip the eggs. I mean, these are like time intensive here. You've got to whip the eggs, even with my stand mixer, for 15 minutes or something like that. It's crazy. I think, what, should she stand over a bowl and just whip eggs for an hour? I don't know. Okay, so we've got that. Now, with even pressure, you roll your pen across the dough. Oh yeah, this probably isn't going to work too well because I'm stretching the dough instead of just pressing on it. So there you go. You guys can see. Let me get you down there. Oop. There you are. You can see the prints on those cookies. So then what I will do is, didn't get my cutter. And wouldn't you know, we had pizza last night, and the big pizza cutter thing is in the dishwasher washing. So I will just attempt to cut them. Oops, with my spatula. That doesn't work so well. So yeah, it's basically what you do there. Let's see. But yeah, you guys can see what I have to do. I'm just going to have to do all these off camera, which I know you'll be thankful for, because who wants to watch me cut out all these Springerle cookies, right? So yeah, that's the main gist of it. And maybe I'll do a few of the pressed cookies, the molds, so you can see what those look like. Okay, you can see that I've already made a few of the little houses there. So I'm going to make one of these. I can't see it very well. One of these cookies that I love so much, and I think there's somebody in the coin community that I will send this one to. Special. Gosh, I got so much. Too much flour in there. Okay. Yep, you got to dust them with flour, or it'll either stick in the dough and then tear the cookie, in which case you've just ruined a cookie, or the dough will just get stuck in the mold, and it is hard to get out of the mold. So you got to make sure you press it all down evenly so it bakes evenly. Or you will, oh, see? Can you guys see that? Isn't it pretty? Okay, so here we are down in the basement where it's dry and a little bit cooler, because what you have to do is you need to let these cookies set for 24 to 48 hours so that the tops dry out and set, so that when you bake them, they will hold the pretty little pattern that's on top. If you don't do that, as they rise, they'll still have the image a little bit, but it won't be as crisp. And if you ever decide, you know what, Miss Jamie, I think I'm going to try these, if you're crazy enough, because they do take a while, you need to make sure that you put them on a flat surface to dry. You do not want to put them on a cooling rack, because if you need a foot, what they call the foot of the cookie, and that is a moist spot. So when all the dry edges, when you bake it, the moisture can like escape. It'll rise, and then the moisture will escape through the bottom of the cookie. If the cookie's totally dry, you'll end up cracking the cookie. It won't turn out well. So make sure you always dry them on a flat surface. So we're going to cover these with tea towels, and I'll see you guys in a few days. Hi guys, I'm back. The cookies are done. They've been sitting in the tin here for about 2 days now. They should sit in here 3 weeks, but I don't have that kind of time, so we're just going to have to go with what we got. You would want them to set for 3 weeks. 1, to let them dry out a little bit, but 2, to let the anise flavor develop more strongly. 200 or 300 years ago, 400 years ago, it would have been very important to let these dry out fully, because once they were dry, they could sit on the shelf for approximately 3 to 4 months without spoiling. I think that'd be a pretty big deal back then. And then what you want to do before you serve the cookies, you would remove what you want and place them in a smaller tin. Take a piece of wax paper, set it over the top of the cookies in the smaller tin, and then just place an apple wedge or an orange wedge in there to impart a little bit of moisture back into the cookie. Thankfully, we have refrigeration and all kinds of preservatives, and it's, we've got it easier than those people did way back when. So here are the cookies. The little rectangular cookies aren't as decorative as my grandmother's. My great-grandmother's would have been. Her rolling pin was carved more deeply than mine, I believe, and so it would have made a pattern deeper so it would be more distinct, like the lily of the valley or the gingerbread house. Anyhow, this is just a fun little tradition that I like to do every Christmas season. And you guys could give it a whirl if you want. You wouldn't even need a fancy rolling pin. I suppose you could just make the dough and cut them out into squares or circles or whatever shape you wanted to. Anyhow, I hope you guys have a really great Christmas season and a blessed new year. And I'm sure I will see you before then, but if not, I just wanted to make sure that I was able to wish you all the best this holiday season. And with that, I guess I will wish you a wonderful day with something good in store. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.